Hi everyone, my name is Akin and I have something to talk about. But before we start, let's, drink. So a few months ago, one of my Twitter mutuals, not gonna tell you what my Twitter is, if you know, you know. He wouldn't stop talking about this Thai series called 2gether, and he kept mentioning BL, BL. I was like, what the fuck is BL? I know BS. I don't know what BL is. We'll talk about that later. At the time, I had nothing to watch, so I decided to check it out. As someone who is more familiar with Western shows, watching a Thai series was a new experience for me. Not me saying that while being an Indonesian. I am so westernized. Though it wasn't my first time watching a Thai series, I watched Hormones years ago with my sister. Amazing show, by the way. Can't believe a Southeast Asian country would produce a show that covers such taboo topics. But I guess Thailand has always been on the progressive side, unlike, Anyway, let's talk about the show. Let's talk about 2gether. Let's review it a little bit. I've watched the entire series and I hate it. Let me explain why I hate it. First, the pacing is all over the place. It has no clear plot. It has forced conflicts. It's just bad. Second, the characters are two-dimensional. Sure, they have backgrounds and personalities, but neither of these aspects got to be explored, so we don't really have clear understandings why the characters are doing what they're doing. Why did it take 13 episodes for Sarawat to be together with Tyne when it could have been done in just 3 episodes? Why did he have to play hard to get? Why did Sarawat wait that long to confess his feelings to Tyne? But Akin, it's a slow burn. That's not how slow burn works, love. For example, in a 10-episode series, you'd want the two characters to be introduced in the first episode. They build a relationship from episode 2 to episode 5. They become official in episode 6. Conflict arises in episode 7. Climax in episode 8. Resolution in episode 9. Conclusion in episode 10. But in 2gether, it's like, oh, they get close already in episode 2. They backtrack in episode 3. Their relationship gets intense again in episode 4, and then they say it's a joke in episode 5. This makes the pacing really jumpy, and we don't know the characters' goals are. That pushing and pulling gets old really fast. It gets repetitive and therefore making it boring to watch. And also because of this, the plot doesn't move forward. It just runs in circles until it decides to stop. Also, Green, the effeminate gay character in the series, just being there as a comic relief is fishy to me. With that being said, I'm giving 2gether 3 stars out of 10 for trying because it's really not good. Anyway, I decided to watch another series. Just to compare, I watched Dark Blue Kiss. Before we review it, let's talk about the opening theme. I am obsessed with it. Such a bop. Love it. I think this series is a sequel because most parts seem to have been established before the series starts. I like this one a lot better than 2gether because first of all, the plot actually moves forward. I didn't have a hard time understanding what's happening and why it's happening. The characters have personal struggles, like Pete trying to prove that he's actually good for something and Kao facing financial problem. This adapts to the character, which is really important when it comes to storytelling. It has messages like when Pete says he doesn't need to be better than anyone else just because he likes men, or when Mark tells Rain that outing people is a wrong thing to do. Having these messages where the audience can apply them in real life is a good thing. I'm giving Dark Blue Kiss 7 stars out of 10. Still too corny for my taste, but it's an okay series. Alright, now let's talk about BL in general. What is BL? According to Wikipedia, yaoi, okay, I've heard of yaoi before. And of course, it's anime terminology, why am I not surprised? Yaoi, also known as boys love or BL, is a genre of fictional media originating in Japan that features homoerotic relationships between male characters. It is typically created by women for women and is distinct from homoerotic media marketed to gay and bisexual male audiences such as Bara. Okay, I'm familiar with Bara. But it can also attract male readers and male creators can also produce it. It spans a wide range of media including manga, anime, drama CDs, what the fuck is that? Novels, games, films, and fan production. Boys love and its abbreviation BL are the generic terms for this kind of media in Japan and have in recent years become more commonly used in English as well. However, yaoi remains more generally prevalent in English. A defining characteristic of yaoi is the practice of pairing characters in relationships according to the roles of seme, the sexual top or active pursuer, and uke, the sexual bottom or passive pursued. This topic is really not important because it's only relevant when you're a gay man looking for a sexual partner who's compatible with you. Other than that, I don't see why this thing is important. But this is actually the biggest selling point of BL because I've seen the audience being busy dictating which one is the top, which one is the bottom, which one is the seme, which one is the UK. Why does it matter who's fucking who when you're not the one who's doing it? Anyway, let's continue. The common themes in yaoi include forbidden relationships, depictions of rape. Depictions of what? Hold on, there must be a further explanation about this. Where the fuck is it? Okay, here it is. Rape fantasy is a theme commonly found in yaoi manga. Anal intercourse is understood as a means of expressing commitment to a partner, and in yaoi, the apparent violence of rape is transferred into a measure of passion. The fuck? While Japanese society often shuns or looks down upon women who are raped in reality, the yaoi genre depicts men who are raped as still imbued with innocence and are still typically loved by their rapists after the act, a trope that may have originated with Kazetoki no Uta. Rape scenes in yaoi are rarely presented as crimes with an assaulter and a victim. Scenes where a semi rapes an uke are not depicted as symptomatic of the disruptive sexual/violent desires of the semi, but instead are a signifier of the uncontrollable love felt by a semi for an uke. Such scenes are often a plot device used to make the ukes see the semi as more than just a good friend, and typically result in the uke falling in love with the semi. Rape fantasy themes explore in the protagonist's lack of responsibility in sex, leading the narrative climax of the story where the protagonist takes responsibility for his own sexuality. These bitches think rape is romantic. How fucked up is that? Yaoi and BL stories cover a diverse range of genres such as high school love comedy, period drama, science fiction and fantasy, and detective fiction, and include subgenres such as Omegaverse and Shotakon. What the fuck is Shotakon? Shotakon, abbreviated from Shotaro Complex, is a Japanese slang describing an attraction to... I am not the same person I was after reading all that shit. I mean, how can you read all that and still be like, this is something okay to like, go to jail? BL stands, in case nobody ever tells you this, you're weird, control yourself, you're fucking weird. I think there's an actual term for BL stands. Hold on, let me look that up. What are BL stands called? Fujoshis. They're called fujoshis. Where do fujoshis belong? Mental institution. Now let me criticize the BL series because honestly I'm not feeling the whole thing. I'm gonna criticize it from the most trivial thing to the most important thing. First things first, the advertisement. All up in my face, and for what? I get that it's sponsorship, but you can be more subtle doing that. Second, someone always gets into a fight, someone always gets hospitalized. What's up with that? Forced conflict, I'm telling you. Third, we're going to talk about more serious, more objective stuff from now on. We're going to talk about the plot first. I'm gonna let the corniness slide because this is Southeast Asia we're talking about. Exaggeration is the foundation of anything fictional. Okay, why in BL it's always Mr. Handsome, popular, cool guy falling for a cute, sunshine, clumsy guy? It's literally always like that. Like, come up with something else, you uncreative bitch. It doesn't take much for me to enjoy a show. It really doesn't. Most of the time, I don't care about the acting, I don't care about the cinematography, I just care about the plot. If it's interesting and I can understand it, that's the only thing that matters to me, and I can even get that from BL series. And then the lack of female representation. Most of the time, female characters in BL series don't add anything to the story. They're just there. Why? Seems misogynistic to me. 10 homewreckers as plot device. I get that infidelity is juicy, but there's a lot of other reasons why relationships can have problems. For example, personal differences, having different goals, one party grows to be the person the other party doesn't like, and many more. But BL series resort to just have the presence of a third person in the relationship. Like known in Dark Blue Kiss and Pam in Together. The audience just loves chip drama and it shows. And then the multi-couples. Why are there so many goddamn couples in this goddamn series? It's like the plot of this couple for this episode is done, let's move on to the next. We're being served the same thing over and over again, but the audience doesn't seem to get bored. I'll talk more about that when we get to the meat of this video. Now, with that being said, it's a clear indication that they just don't want to deal with individual character development, which is the next matter I'm going to talk about. Let's take a look at our lying queen, Oil from Hormones. Okay, so what does Oil do? She lies. Why does she lie? To get attention. Why does she need attention? Because she doesn't get any from her parents and she's sick of being kanampang shadows. You see how these things come in full circle. That makes her a well-rounded character and we as audience can understand where she's coming from. Now let's take a look at Sarawak from Together. What does Sarawak do? He plays guitar, he plays soccer, and he likes Stein. Why does he do all those things? For no goddamn reason, apparently. This is what I mean by characters in BL series aren't developed properly. They don't really have good reasons to do what they do, and that's why I hate it. Like if gay guys in real life acted the way BL characters do, I'd be homophobic. What? I'm Indonesian, being homophobic is in my blood. Bottom line is that characters, especially main characters, have to be complex. I find that in Oil, I don't find it in Sarawak. And Oil isn't even a main character. Moreover, in BL series, let's say A and B are a couple or are gonna be a couple. A infiltrates too much in B's thoughts and actions, and vice versa, making it hard for us to see them as individual characters. So their relationship is complementary rather than supplementary, where it should be the latter. Characters should be dealt with separately, so when two characters have any kind of relationship, we as audience can judge and predict what kind of dynamic those two would be having. Another minus point for BL series because they don't give me that. I need another shot because I feel like this is gonna be a long video. Now I personally think romance series will not work out, ever. Because there's only so much things to talk about a relationship. Romance films might work out because you conclude things in like what, 2 hours? But series is around 5 hours if you stretch it out, and that's the shortest. You will run out of things to talk about. Hormones covers a lot of things from teen pregnancy to teenage sex to school violence, etc., creating a solid, cohesive, interesting show. BL series would just run around in circles. Romance as side plot in series is great, necessary even, but as main plot, no. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the biggest reason why I'm making this video. It's the fetishization and exploitation of gay guys through BL series. It doesn't matter if it has shit storyline or poorly developed characters, all they have to do is offer gayness, and some people, by some people I mean BL stans, will buy it no matter what. And the industry knows that. They know they will never lose their audience, so they just do the bare minimum. This relationship creates a never-ending cycle of blandness that somehow works, at the expense of gay guys' integrity. Here's the thing, when you're making a fiction, you're making something based on something, in this case, gay guys. Gay guys aren't something out of your imagination, gay guys aren't fairies. Sorry, I had to do that. But you know what I'm saying, gay guys are real, and it's BL writers' responsibility to do justice representing gay guys when they're making fictional versions of them in their works. But they don't, they just like one thing about gay guys and exploit it. It's like cultural appropriation of sexuality. Instead of making solid gay men characters, they make caricatures of them, because that's the kind of BL stans like. I think BL stans are the ones who are sick in the heads here. When I was watching the series, I also read the comments because I wanted to see what kind of behavior the audience were exhibiting, and boy, it was too much. I talked about this with my friend who introduced me to this whole BL thing, and he told me that he knows someone who loves watching BL series but hates gay guys in real life. You know how something can be so bizarre that it's too much to be a lie, so it must be the truth? That statement is one of those things. Now I think there's two types of BL stans. One who I just mentioned, the ones who are homophobic in real life but loves watching BL series because it's fictional, Indonesians BL stans. And the other are the ones who have excessive obsession with gayness. Their pussies get wet at the sight of two guys sitting next to each other. These people love the idea of gay guys. They do. They really do. But once they find out gay guys are more than their sexuality, they're bamboozled. It's because they treat gay guys as a plaything, as object of affection, as something to like. But they never see them as people. I've seen these people calling real life guys seme and uke. Where the fuck do you think this is, Konohagakure? Stop it! Listen, I'm not one to shame people for liking what they like. I'm really not that kind of person, but this is borderline harmful. And if you still ask how, did you listen to what the fuck I said throughout this goddamn video? You know what this whole BL thing reminds me of? Lesbian porn. Straight guys don't happen to be the biggest lesbian porn audience. Lesbian porn is designated to fulfill straight guys' fantasy. Who's BL biggest audience? You tell me. Both fetishize and exploit groups of people. Both do shit representations. Lesbian porn and BL are two sides of the same coin. You can't convince me otherwise. Now, I'm not saying if you're lesbian you don't get to enjoy lesbian porn, or if you're gay you don't get to enjoy BL series, but have some self-respect. In conclusion, never ever betray your source material. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. See you in the next one. Bye!